set in North Carolina where I live in like the Boone area, and it's the husband telling the story. By late in the or early in the book, he has lost both his son and his wife, and the plot is essentially trying to kind of figure out what has happened, but simultaneously he is imagining an alternate universe or sort of alternate past in which they've lived. And one of the things he sees, it's one of the more incredible things I think I've ever seen. Are y'all familiar with like a murmuration of birds?
Yeah.
This is when my family and I, we spent a little bit of time living in Mexico, and every night the birds would murmurate, and something like 30,000 bronze cowbirds would come like just like a streak, a river across the sky, and they would circle until they had all gathered perfectly. And this is to prevent like falcons and predators from taking the individual birds. And then at once they would just drop with a whoosh. So they are, he's imagining seeing this and seeing his family. We are all now living in a different future. The one we knew was coming, but it surprised us just the same. The waters rose just as they said they would. The air is hotter and dirtier. The infections longer and deadlier. Those little surgical masks you saw now and then, sky blue and so unsettling, we are all now sweating beneath them. We are washing our hands. We are praying. This is not another maybe. This is simply what we have woken to and will continue to wake to, each day a little warmer, a little grimmer, a little harder to breathe. Still, there is one last thing to tell, and that is how the birds come at dusk. A dark train that flickers out of the east, less like a river than a failing projector. The reel skipping with light over the dry lake bed, and then over the boy, and then over his mother. There are others up on the ridge, but the boy and his mother are alone there on the mud flat, so that when the birds begin to bend and spiral, it appears they are turning in recognition, as if they had almost made a mistake. Watch, she says quietly, reverently, almost silently. The birds circle over the lake bed that floods at highest tide, but otherwise is a field of gray muck with a single cusp of banyan trees into which the birds eventually drop. She tells him this, how the birds circle until sunset, the holding pattern growing until overhead is a cyclone of perfect synchronicity, black one moment, silver the next. The idea is to confuse predators, the falcons that swoop in to catch an isolated bird, but here no bird is isolated. Here there is safety in their anonymity. It's happening, she says. The murmuration, she means. It isn't supposed to happen here. Something is failing within the birds, their interior mechanics skewed by the changing climate, their sense of navigation lost. Not only the cowbirds, but all birds. Snowy owls drifting south, magnificent frigate birds sing thousands of miles inland. It's like the key deer coming north while the panther drifts south. What they are witnessing is confusion, but it's the loveliest confusion she's ever seen. The breeze comes off the gulf, and her son's hair rides up off the top of his head and flattens when the direction changes. She puts one hand on his shoulder. You okay? I'm fine. Not cold? I'm fine, Mama. You okay? I am, she says. I'm absolutely fine. And she is, though she can't say how exactly. The sky bleeds in a way that doesn't lend itself to thought. It registers, though not in words, and she is lost in the sunset when the murmuration ends. The drop's sudden, a great swooshing as the birds descend as one and the trees shake with arrival. After that, the evening is still and quickly gone. The sun beneath the sea, darkness around them, and I ask you, what if it happens like this? What if she puts her arm around him as they walk back up to where the truck is parked on the shoulder of the road? They're leaving. They cannot stay. Things will change. Things will disappear. Everything you have loved, everything you have known, it cannot. It will not last. She knows this. We all know this. Still, what if she is content in that moment, together like that, happy and safe and beautiful? And me, what if I've been put here only to recognize such? What if that is enough? So.
Yeah.